Madhava Kunja Bihari Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Gopi Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivardhari Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana Nandana Vajjana Yasoda Nandana Vajjana Rangjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Parivrajaka Astatara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees All glories to the assembled devotees And all glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Before I begin, I'd like to just thank everyone here for coming, attending, and encouraging and inspiring me to speak and giving me the opportunity to serve everyone here. So, because there's no greater gain, no greater joy than serving the Vaishnavas. So thank you again and again. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Sutta Uvacha Brahmanadyam Sarasvatyam. There's nothing on the board? What happened? It's not working? How is it working? Should I wait? Huh? He's almost finished? What's not going to work? No? Yes? Okay. 10 seconds. Or you're fired. Got it? Okay. Start again. Sutta Uvacha Brahmanadyam Sarasvatyam Ashrama Paschime Tate Shamya Prasa Iti Prukta Vishinam Satravardhanam. Sutta Uvacha Brahmanadyam Sarasvatyam Ashrama Paschime Tate Samyaprasa iti prokta Vishinam Satravardhanam. Sutta Uvacha Brahmanadyam Sarasvatyam Ashrama Paschime Tate Shamya Prasa iti prokta Vishinam Satravardhanaha. Please chant. Sutta Uvacha Sutta Uvacha Ladies, please. Okay. Anyone else? Synonyms: Sutaha, Sri Sutta, Vacha, said, Brahmanadyam, on the bank of the river, intimately related with the Vedas, Brahmanas, saints, and the Lord. Sarasvatyam, Sarasvati, Ashrama, cottage for meditation. Paschime, on the west, Tate, bank, Shamyaprasa, the place named Shamyaprasa. Iti, thus, Proktaha, said to be, Rishinam, of the sages, Satravardhanaha, that which enlivens activities. Translation. Sri Sutta said, on the western bank of the river Sarasvati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation at Shamyaprasa, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. Please repeat. Sri Sutta said, excuse me, on the western bank of the river Sarasvati, which is intimately related with the Vedas, there is a cottage for meditation at Shamyaprasa, which enlivens the transcendental activities of the sages. Purport by His Divine Grace, Srila Prabhupada Ki. For spiritual advancement of knowledge, a suitable place and atmosphere are definitely required. The place on the western bank of the Sarasvati is especially suitable for this purpose, and there is the ashram of Vyasadeva at Shamyaprasa. Srila Vyasadeva was a householder, yet his residential place is called an ashram. An ashram is a place where spiritual culture is always foremost. It does not matter whether the place belongs to a householder or a mendicant. Does everybody know what a mendicant is? Yeah, I didn't think so. Okay, a mendicant basically is a beggar. And you don't have to feel ashamed if you don't know the meaning of these words, because I can sense that just by looking at everybody's face when I say such words. Your eyes go up or squinting starts. So yes, a mendicant is a beggar, but more specifically, it's a renunciant, a person who, like a sannyasi, like myself, a person who is trying or has accomplished giving up all material desires and has only one desire, and that is to serve the Lord, to love the Lord, to adore the Lord, to surrender to the Lord, and to share that with as many persons as he can through his wanderings. Okay? Got it all? Mendicant, beggar, sannyasi. Right? Any questions? No? Okay. And there is the ashram of Vyasadeva at Shamyaprasa. Srila Vyasadeva was a householder, yet his residential place is called an ashram. An ashram is a place where spiritual culture is always foremost. It does not matter whether the place belongs to a householder or a mendicant. The whole varnashram system is so designed that each and every status of life is called an ashram. An ashram is a place for what? Spiritual culture, yes. This means that spiritual culture is the common factor for all. The brahmacharis, the grahastas, Does everybody know what a grahasta is? If you don't, raise your hand, please. Okay, grahasta is a person in the married order. Pardon me. There are 4 orders. There is brahmachari, student life, grahasta, householder life, where you get married. And then the third stage is V. Huh? Come on, give it loud and strong so everybody can hear. Vanaprastha, thank you. Vanaprastha is the retired stage. You know, like people go on Social Security. So that's Vanaprastha. In those days, they had something better than Social Security. They had divine security. So that was always a surefire thing, whereas Social Security, sometimes you get your check, sometimes you don't get your check, and you have to go down there and fight for it. So, and the last is sannyas, which is known as the renounced order of life. Renounced means, as I just mentioned, he has given up all material desires. Actually, it's not a giving up. The desires give him up as a result of the grace that God bestows upon this devotee. And therefore, the devotee does not feel those desires as he once or she once did. Why not? Because the desire to please God, the desire to serve God, the desire to know God, the desire to be the servant of God has taken prominence in his life. And that purifies the mind. And when the mind is purified, as well as the body is purified, or the intelligence and the intelligence is purified, then that gives a different outlook on life. We see it differently through different eyes than when we have material desires. So the brahmacharis, the grahastas, the vanaprasthas, and the sannyasis all belong to the same mission of life, which, as I just mentioned, the mission of life is to achieve God realization and share that with others for the pleasure of God, of Krishna, namely realization of the Supreme. Therefore, none of them are less important as far as spiritual culture is concerned. Spiritual culture. We're not talking about material culture, although I will contrast it in a few moments. The difference is a matter of formality on the strength of renunciation. That means that, generally speaking, those who are in the renounced order of life are generally more renounced or have less desire, material, or maybe have no material desire, than a person who is in the vanaprastha. He also has renunciation, but perhaps has not come up to the highest level yet. And then there is, of course, the grahastas. They also have renunciation, depending upon their understanding, their outlook, and their philosophy. The people of today who are householders, basically, as Prabhupada says, they are not much better than polished animals. You know what an animal is? An animal just eats and sleeps and mates and defends. But if you a polished animal is one who does one other thing. He talks. And dog barks. The human being talks. But sometimes the talking is not much better than the barking. So, but devotees don't bark. Devotees, as it says in the Brahma Samhita, that when a devotee speaks, it should be like a song. When he walks, it should be almost like a dance. But don't be too pronounced in this, because they may lock you up and put you in jail. So, what, you're pointing to yourself? You're a dancer? So, anyway, the important point is that the main thing is there is a feeling of joyfulness, a feeling of inner happiness, a feeling of jubilation within. And therefore, when one speaks, one may speak in various cadences, so that it almost sounds like a song. A person who is not so spiritually advanced may not have that song-like feeling in his voice, and may just be very choppy. Bum, 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 bum. Hey, get over here. Hey, do this here. You see? Not very sing-song, not very sweet, not very poetic, not very attractive. So devotee is attractive. That's one of his wonderful qualities. And as Srila Prabhupada was so attractive, especially when he would quote so many nice verses from the Bhagavatam, from the Bhagavad Gita, from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So that made him extremely attractive because he gave us hope. He gave us an optimistic feeling. He gave us the feeling that although he was so far high above us, nonetheless he made it sound like that if you just keep trying, just keep at it, don't give up ever, and always try to take a humble position before your spiritual master. If you do this, you will be like me. In fact, I am hoping he would say that you become better than me. The spiritual master is always hoping that the disciples will grow and develop and become prominent and will take over the mission or continue the mission, not only in the same way, but extending the same principles that the spiritual master Srila Prabhupada has given us. Aumagyanati timirandasya gananjana shalakaya chakshur unmiditam yena tasmai shri guruve namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge, and I offer my humble obeisances unto his lotus feet. And I pray for the prayers of all of you here, that I may say something useful and beneficial and helpful to not only everyone here, but to myself and to all those who are in the internet world. Because the point of just speaking and sounding like an encyclopedia is not the purpose of speaking. The purpose of speaking is to inspire, to encourage, to enthuse devotees with knowledge, not merely to lay knowledge on devotees and impress everyone how smart, how glorious, how great, what a wonderful memory he has, and how learned he is. That is not the purpose of speaking. And sometimes I hear a lot of that. Not too much. We have some devotees who never express themselves in that way. They're never putting on a show. If anything, what you do after you listen to them, you have one thought in mind. Let me work harder. Let me strive with greater energy and zest to fulfill the mission of the spiritual master of the Supreme Lord. And now I feel so uplifted, so strengthened, so joyful. So that should be the feeling. Before I speak, generally I pray and I beg the Lord to please, may everyone feel more love for you today than they did yesterday as a result of the words I'm praying that you will put into my mouth. I take no credit for those kind of words. I don't have that kind of potency. But Krishna does, Prabhupada does. And when they put those kinds of words in our mouths, then those words come out and devotees are inspired, devotees are uplifted, devotees want to try harder. This is wonderful. So if we can get devotees to try harder, if we can take someone who knows nothing about Krishna consciousness and says, you know, this sounds really interesting. And you sound like you know what you're talking about. I can hear the conviction in your voice. I can hear the strength in your attitude. So when somebody says that, that's a great credit to the devotee who is depending upon Krishna. One of our biggest problems, and it's surely my biggest problem, is I don't depend enough on Krishna. I don't think enough about Krishna. But we have to keep trying. It's our challenge. And one day we will succeed because Krishna says, if you just keep trying, I will guide you, I will direct you. He says, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer or give away, do it for me. And if you do it for me, you'll become purified. In this way, you'll be freed from the bondage of work and its auspicious and inauspicious results. And with your mind fixed on me in this principle of renunciation, you will be liberated and come to me. Liberated means, of course, you'll be free of all karmic reactions. You'll be free of the gunas. You'll be attracted to all things transcendental, and there can't be anything better than that. Sometimes liberation, the word, has taken on a pejorative, a lower class meaning, because it's not being understood by some of the other things that Srila Prabhupada has said. Actually, liberation is, we should all be striving for liberation. To be liberated means to be free of birth, death, disease, and old age, eating, sleeping, mating, defending, and ultimately going back to the spiritual world, free of all karmic reactions, free of all the gunas. Free for what, though? What do we do with that freedom? We try to love Krishna more and more through devotional service. We do things, we're hearing about Krishna, chanting about Krishna, remembering Krishna. You see all these wonderful pictures. It helps us to remember the pastimes of Krishna. All of them, I look around, I see the Lord Nrsingadev there, and Krishna getting his first bath over there, and Arjuna receiving instructions from Krishna. Just recently, I did a remodeling of my own living room, which is no longer a living room. It's actually a devotional room completely, because I have in the living room and part of the dinette about 16 different poster-sized pictures of these different pastimes, some of which we see here. But when I'm in this room and I just walk around, if I'm doing my japa, I feel like I'm in Vrindavan, because the pastimes of Vrindavan are in front of me, and I'm seeing them, and they remind me, of course, of those wonderful feats, those wonderful actions, those wonderful activities that Krishna performed, what we call his pastimes. Therefore, I feel like I'm in Vrindavan. Actually, I don't even want to. I don't care to go there, because those pictures are so well done. There's a little picture of Krishna, baby Krishna. Maybe you'll remember it. He has a beautiful smile on his face. You just want to take his cheeks and kind of twist them a little bit. His face is so beautiful. He's got the necklace, and he's looking up at these two parrots, and the parrots are looking down at him, and they're both charmed by each other's presence. So Krishna, I look at that picture, and I just say, well, I wish I had a son, not now, I wish I had a son like that. He's so lovable, so adorable, so huggable. You just want to play with him. You just want to please him. And that's what these pictures are all about, to give us the feeling of wanting to please Krishna. Some pictures induce more affection or different kinds of affection. Some induce wanting to play with Krishna. And for the ladies, they just pine and sigh while they churn the butter. When is Krishna coming back from the pasturing grounds? When will he come back? Oh, we got another hour. Oh, I'm going to die in that hour. That's the way it feels when you love someone and you feel this affection, you feel this attraction, and there's separation. But there really isn't any separation, because you're remembering him. You're thinking of him. You're feeling his presence, but you still want to touch him. The gopis were so affectionate. Of course, Krishna would say, just think about me. We've gone beyond that. We just want to massage your feet. We want to play music for you. We want to cook for you. We want to make nice sweets for you. We want to watch you eating them. We want to hold your hand. So this is the gopis of Vrindavan. There's nothing sexual in this, by the way. It's completely in the heart and never goes down below the heart. It stays right there. So it's pure love. In fact, Lord Chaitanya said there is no love more pure than the love that the gopis manifested. Gopis are milkmaids. For anyone who doesn't know the meaning of that word, gopi means milk, go, cow, milkmaids. So they were milkmaids. Actually, they were maids. Most of them were unmarried, but eventually they became, I guess, milk grahastas. Something like that. But in any way, they did become married. But even while they were married, they were always thinking of Krishna, because Krishna had something special. And what was that special? They talk about his charming smile. When he would smile, they would melt. And when he would play the flute, they would melt even more. Almost there was nothing left of them from all the melting. They couldn't speak. They just thought about his pastimes. One time, Krishna, when he was with them in it was called the Ras Leela night, in which he called the gopis of Vrindavan to come, and he had promised them a year ago that he would become their husband. So he called them, actually, and but at some point it's mentioned that they became a little proud that they were getting something that most women were not getting. And because of that, they felt, well, we're special, we're distinct, we're very important. So Krishna actually set this whole thing up, because actually the gopis are not proud. If they were proud, when they left their homes to go to Krishna when he was playing his flute outside, and their fathers, their uncles, their brothers were all calling them back, they couldn't care less. In fact, they stood to be ostracized, not only from the community, but from their homes, to be thrown out, and they didn't care. If they had to live in the forest, fine. They would do that because Krishna is what? He's worth it. When someone deserves your love, when someone deserves your care, when someone deserves your surrender, then you don't care what happens to you. The only thing you care about is pleasing the beloved. That's what we all have to be doing today. Remember, we're doing this for spiritual benefit, which is translated into for the pleasure of Lord Krishna. We want him to be pleased. We want him to be enlivened. Krishna is always blissful. We must always remember that. We don't really make Krishna happy. He's happy always. But his happiness can be extended and expanded and deepened. And that's where you come in, you come in, you come in, I come in, to increase the pleasure of Krishna through our different devotional services. Krishna is so pleased when someone performs this deity dressing. That's why we show Krishna that, we put a mirror in front of him so that he can see how beautiful he looks. So somebody may say, well, isn't Krishna being a bit egotistical? Yes, he is, but he has a right to be because he owns everything. We don't, because we own virtually nothing. Whatever we get from Krishna. As I have mentioned that prayer that I often sing, oh my Lord, I am nothing except what you make me. I have nothing except what you give me. I know nothing except what you teach me. I do nothing except what you enable me. I accomplish nothing except what you permit me or arrange for me. Excuse me. I accomplish nothing except what you arrange for me. And I want nothing except pure love of your lotus feet. And if I will have that, I will have everything and even more. Nothing more, nothing needed. If I can have your grace, if I can have your mercy, if I can have your smile upon me. But even if you don't give it to me, as it says in the Shikshastika, I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so, even if he handles me roughly by his embrace, or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, because he is always my worshipable Lord, unconditionally. That means unconditionally. That means do what you want with me. You want to kick me? Kick me. I accept it as a blessing. You want to hug me? Hug me. Whatever you want to do, I belong to you. This body was made by you. My thinking process is going on by your grace. Sometimes people think, I did give this wonderful talk, or I play this beautiful music, or I know so much Sanskrit, and they're thinking they're important. All that is being done by the grace of Krishna, and he can withdraw it at any time. Getting back to the gopis, they're very interesting. So what happened in the course of this Vrindavan Ras Leela night, what happened is that the gopis became a little bit proud. We're better than other women because actually they're not getting what we're getting now. We're getting Krishna's closeness. So what happened is what Krishna is trying to teach us something so important in the process of devotional service. If we become a little better, a little greater, a little higher in our service, and people praise us and honor us and glorify us, there is a great tendency, and it needs to be corrected immediately, to take the credit for ourselves. That's because we have come into this world to lord it over, to be lords or kings or princes, to be powerhouses. Lord means one who can boss somebody. Even if you're a mother or father, that's a form of lordship. Hey, go over here. No, don't do that. No, say it this way. So you have the lordship over the child. The child, he's helpless and he wants to learn, so he will listen and he will follow. So that's the important point is that this lordship mentality, which demands importance. You should respect me, look up to me, honor me, glorify me, applaud me. This mentality must be destroyed. It's the killer. It kills devotional service. And Krishna shows how it does. What did he do? He withdrew himself from the gopis. He separated himself. And then they were looking, where's Krishna? Where did he go? What happened to him? And they went wandering through the forest. Krishna, they're calling. Krishna, where are you? Where are you? And then they say, oh, Amal tree, have you seen Krishna pass this way? Oh, Mother Earth, has Krishna walked on you over here? Please, can you direct us where we can find Krishna? They're talking like that, almost like mad women. So, although they're mad, but they're mad for Krishna. And then they begin to see the pastimes of Krishna running through their minds. They see him with killing Bakasura, killing Putana, killing Agasura, and all the different demons, and they start playing the parts. One gopi says, I'm Putana, and I will defeat you. Girlfriend says, no, you're not anybody, and I'm Krishna. And they're having this kind of little, what you call play acting, but they're actually absorbed in it. It's a meditation. The way Prabhupada describes it, he says, this is samadhi. Their senses are completely absorbed in the principle and the idea of pleasing Krishna, being with Krishna, touching Krishna. They hugged and they embraced. That's in the spiritual world. But it's all above the navel. It's all in the heart and nowhere else. And the heart virtually expands in greater and greater degrees of love according to the way Krishna responds to their love. So when Krishna responds to it, one feels what? Feels bliss, feels peace, feels strength, feels happiness. This is the happiness that people are seeking and striving for in the material world, but never finding. They don't find it because they still want to be God. As long as we want to be a Lord of any sort, of tiny dimension, big dimension, that is the direction or the path to fall down. As long as we don't want anything and we want to give all credit to Krishna, whatever I do, whatever I speak, wherever I go, anything good that I do is the result of Krishna's grace. That's it. And if he didn't give me his grace, I couldn't speak this way, or I couldn't do this, or I couldn't go here, or whatever it would be that's very nice. Person dresses the deities nicely. People come over to you and say, wow, what a beautiful dressing. Look at the combination of colors. And whoever did those garlands really knows how to do so you get that. So two things you can do. You can say, yeah, I'm pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty great. I'm pretty wonderful. Or you can say, oh, Krishna, thank you for allowing me to be your instrument in this service. All this credit goes to you because I couldn't do anything without the artistic understanding which you have given me. So the credit goes to you. And if everyone and anyone always thinks, even when we're not being praised and honored and glorified and applauded, still, whatever, the very fact that I can breathe, that I can walk, that I can talk, that I can use my hands, that I can perform devotional service, that I can interact with other devotees. What a blessing. Thank you, my dear Lord. I owe you so much and I can never pay you back because that particular offering that you have given to me is unrepayable. There's nothing greater than knowing another devotee who is striving equally for the high goal of pure love of God. So when we interact with one another with that great goal in mind, we can all benefit one another, help each other, and therefore, and as long as we have this position of humility, that I am nothing except what Krishna makes me, allows me, enables me, that's what I am. And if he withdraws that, like he withdrew from the gopis, they had nobody. And if he withdraws from us, we will become empty. We will become shallow. We'll become without bliss, joy, peace, strength. Those all comes from Krishna. And what happens when you're without? I've seen this happen over and over again. Sannyasis, gurus, GBCs, temple presidents, when Krishna would withdraw his bliss from them, his peace from them, then they didn't have the motivation to be able to go on because they were feeling empty. They're feeling depressed. They're feeling despairing. And it's hard to go on when you have that. So some of them just turned away and they just left because they said, well, this doesn't really lead to what Prabhupada was saying. No, they didn't. Why it didn't lead is because of their pride. The same pride that Indra exhibited when Krishna took over the Govardhan puja sacrifice. It was supposed to be an Indra sacrifice. Indra was so puffed up when Krishna decided that, no, don't worship Indra. Don't worship the demigods. You worship me. You'll get somewhere. Okay? So Indra got upset. He got angry. A proud person does not like to be disobeyed, does not like to be throttled. He does not like to be pushed away. And that's what Krishna did. He took him out of the sacrifice and replaced it with a Govardhan sacrifice. So Indra got angry and he decided to try and punish the residents of Vrindavan, but in effect he was made to cut a sorry figure. The sorry figure was that he couldn't do it. After 7 days and 7 nights of trying to bring lots of rain down in Vrindavan, it was more than just rain. It was heavy downpour. Worse than what's going on here in Southern California right now. It's very heavy. A lot of homes being swept into the ocean. Really, I was watching it on the television. And all these things were happening. But they could not accomplish, Indra couldn't accomplish it. Because Krishna was protecting. And that's what Krishna wants us to do. Depend upon me, he says, for your protection. That's one of the symptoms of surrender, to always depend upon Krishna. In all activities, Krishna says, always depend upon me. Work under my protection in such devotional service. Let me start it from the beginning. In all activities, just depend upon me and always work under my protection. In such devotional service, be fully conscious of me. If you become conscious of me, you will pass over all the obstacles of conditioned life. If, however, you do not work in such consciousness, but you act through false ego, me, mine, I. If you're thinking always me, my pleasure, my power, my fame, my beauty, my glory, if that's all we're thinking about, then the result will be misery, because all these things that I just mentioned, they fade, they pass, they're transitory, they're good for nothing. And ultimately what happens is, again, this emptiness comes, this depressiveness comes, this despair comes. And how do people deal with it? Either alcohol, or you take some heroin, or you take some cocaine. This is what's going on. Now it's the big rage is OxyContin, which is a legal medication, but it's morphine-based. It's just like going and getting a legal hit of heroin from your local pharmacist. Really. It's hard to believe. Some people, they get 8 different doctors prescribing, or 10 different doctors prescribing, and they get a prescription for OxyContin from all of them. And then on the weekend, they live it up and they OD. It's an epidemic going on now, in case anybody doesn't know it. Epidemic means it's all over, especially in Ohio and especially West Virginia. Sorry. The people are empty. And that's why these books are so important. When they get these books, and they get them from a person who is convinced, from a person who loves the books, who loves within the books, and who wants everybody to love it also, because they know what's in that book will give those persons the kind of happiness that he or she has. We want them to have the contagion of spiritual transcendental emotion. And it will happen. It has to happen. If we speak, when we present these books with the conviction, with the certitude, with the purity, with the love, those qualities, if they're in our pitch, our presentation, people will want to have that. So we should be striving, like anything, for purity. We should never think, oh, I'm pure now. Okay, I do 16 rounds a day, I'm pure. Maybe another half a year to go and I'll be a pure devotee. Never. We should never think like that. Actually, we should think we're the worst of devotees. Why worst of devotees? Because that will bring true humility. If you think you're the best of devotees, then the same thing that happened to Indra will happen to us. Krishna will chastise us. He will take care of them. So anytime that we think that we're so great or superior or better or higher, that will be paid off with lots of pain and suffering and misery in the future. But we can avoid all that, and that's what this wonderful movement is about. We can avoid it simply by always thinking, whatever I do comes from you, Lord. Whatever I think, thinking process comes from you. I can't think anything unless I have your grace. If I do something creative, something beautiful, something amazing, and people are saying, wow, 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 wow. Thank you, Krishna. You're the doer. You're the one who gets the credit. You don't have to make a big sign, by the way. Krishna did it. Krishna did it. That's another form of egotism. You know, you say, no, I didn't do it. That's advertising your humility. And what does that mean? Another form of pride. Okay? So this is between us and Krishna, each and every one of us. Like Jesus would say, he said, don't advertise like those, I forgot what they called them. Yeah, you got it. There's Pharisees and Sadducees. They would go on the street and they would advertise and do prayers out loud, make sure everybody saw how spiritual they were. And what did Jesus say? He says, well, that's all they will get. The admiration of people and probably go to hell, you see. So he said to his disciples, don't be like them. Go into your closet and just pray and let this be between you and your Father. You don't have to make a big advertising special or you don't have to advertise it on television or in the newspaper or in the magazines of how humble we are. Our position should be, we have no humility, and therefore that's why we beg for it. So thank you very much. All glorious to Srila Prabhupada. Are there any questions or comments? I know I went a little over. No? Yes, okay, we'll get the microphone in just a second. This is Prem Sankirtan about to speak. You want to come to the mic here? Okay. Come a little close. Yeah. Okay, we have one question. Yeah, question? Okay. Yeah.
I can do nothing. Is it some kind of obstacles to, Prabhupada wanted us to be very learned?
Okay. Yeah. Nice question. Yeah, he wants to know if we're putting ourselves down. I'm so low. I'm so small. I'm so insignificant. I'm so unimportant. I'm lower than an ant. We keep talking like that. Will that hinder our devotional service? Was that? Yeah. So not at all. Because when we say we're low, it's not I'm lower than you or you or you or you. I'm lower than Krishna. Our relationship in terms of high and low is irrelevant. It's meaningless. It has no value. You're low today, I'm high tomorrow, or I'm high tomorrow, you're low today. It's just flickering and changing. It's transitory. It's illusory. What's the value? Why take it even serious? But our relationship with Krishna, we're small and will always be smaller than him. That's a forever. That's a constant. That never changes. Okay? So as long as we have that position that I'm small next to Krishna and anything big that's coming from me comes from Krishna, you're in good shape. It's only when you start comparing, oh, I look better than him, oh, I'm a better student than him, oh, I know more verses than them, more, I. The same idea is a killer. Okay, so you don't want to get killed. You don't want to kill yourself. That's spiritual suicide. Okay, any other questions? No, that's it? Okay, have a wonderful breakfast. Hare Krishna.